the panel for Mr. Jim Beaver, and I have a couple of questions for him to get things rolling, and then we'll open the mic up. Actually, there's no mic, so we'll just have you stand up and be very, very loud over his hollow head.
There's a mic here.
We have one up here too, but they're going to get us a battery for that one. But I want to talk to you about some things that I found out about you that I found very, very interesting that they might not be aware of. Which is, he's getting nervous now. Which is the fact that you are a super, super film buff, and you've written some great things about some great classic actors. And I was wondering,
none of whom any of these people are old enough to remember.
Do you guys know who Steve McQueen is? Okay, do you know who John Carradine is? John Wayne? Okay, so he is a film historian, and he is very well versed in the life of George Reeves, also known as Superman. So I was wanting to talk to you and find out about how you got so into this love affair with film.
I just kind of, when I was a kid, I was a big John Wayne fan, and I watched everything that I could find that he was in, and then I started noticing there were these other guys in his movies that were kind of cool too, and I started watching everything they were in, and then I started seeing these other guys that were kind of cool, and I started watching everything they were in, and pretty soon I didn't have time to go to school because I was watching everything, and I just got so deep into it, and it was kind of weird. I was like 14 or something, and I remember thinking, I need a hobby. And so that's what I picked. And I just, the more stuff I watched, the more fascinated I got by it, and I started reading books about the people who made movies, and I started reading books about the history of the movies. And somewhere late in high school, I decided I wanted to write film history for a living. And when I got out of the service and went to college, and they didn't have any film history courses, so I signed up for theater classes because that was kind of close. And then I got cast in a play, and here we are. So it was a not exactly direct path, but yeah. So I ended up in the movies because I like watching people who were already in the movies.
And so what led to this, the fascination you have for George Reeves? Because I know you're working on a biography of his?
Yeah, I've been working on a book on George Reeves' life for about as long as he was alive. Well, I'm a baby boomer, so I grew up with his show. And then when I first started writing professionally on film and history and actors' biographies, I was asked by a magazine editor to write a piece on him, and it just seemed like a much bigger story, and I decided I would write a book nobody had, and 412 years later, I'm still working on it. So,
but it's pretty neat that you consulted on Hollywoodland, the movie that Ben Affleck played Superman in that one, and now he's Batman. But yeah, you consulted on that film.
Yeah, they were. My former literary agent was the agent for the director of Hollywoodland, and he knew my background and the work I was doing on a book on Reeves, and he put me together with the director, and so I got to keep them from making some of the mistakes they might have made, and I didn't completely succeed, but that's Hollywood land. So
I know a lot of people here are here for Supernatural, and they
Super what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you were here for Vampire Diaries. I'm sorry. No. But
Hi, I'm in Summerholder. I look just like him, don't I?
so I was just going to ask, and then I want to open up the floor for questions because I'm just fascinated by the long life of this show and the fans and
Yeah,
how much
who'd
they
have
love
thunk
it.
it?
Did you have any idea that it would go for this long and keep going in the popularity?
Well, you know, I got cast in the last episode of season 1. Everybody's nodding because you guys have seen it a lot more than I have. And I figured it was just a one-shot. You know, I'm going to go in and do a guest shot on this show that I almost never heard of. And I met these two handsome lugs who were playing the leads, and I thought, well, this show's never going anywhere. But in their wisdom, they brought me back a few times, and I guess that saved the show. And then in season 7, they decided to take a real risk.
Well, yeah. I'm going to open up the floor for questions. There's a mic up there. We'd love for you to come to the microphone so we can see you and hear you better, if you don't mind. And make a line over there for everyone that's got questions. And I think it's hot, so it should work. Come on up.
If it's hot, it's the only thing in the building that is.
Welcome to Oregon.
What was your favorite episode that you were in?
Of what?
Supernatural.
He's done a few other things.
I think I'd be insane not to say Weekend at Bobby's. Weekend at Bobby's was so much fun, and it wasn't so much of those other guys, and you know, I got to be in almost every scene, and discover just how exhausting that is. And it was such a fun script. There was so much fun stuff to do. I got to do, you know, the action hero stuff. I got to be funny. I got to, I just, you know, it was a great show, and it was Jensen's first time out directing, so that was really cool too, to find out that he wasn't a total loss as a director. He turned out to be really, really good, and I really enjoyed that one. There have been several that I liked a lot, but that one's probably my favorite.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next. Hi.
Hiya.
What percentage of Bobby Singer is Jim Beaver?
14. Well, let me see. Bobby's probably smarter, braver, and grouchier than I am, but not by much.
Thank you. And by the way, I like your autobiography a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hi.
Again. So, 2 parts. 1, do you have Misha Collins' phone number?
Why would I want to have that? I love how they come to my panel and ask if I got one of the other guys' numbers.
Way to fill
like-
the love.
It's like all the people who say, "Oh, I wish you were my grandfather."
That stings on a few levels, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you're just like my uncle.
Go with
Part
your
two?
next. Yeah, part 2.
I was put up to this.
Oh my God.
Oh, she's making excuses already.
Can we call him if you have his phone number?
He's in a panel right now.
Yeah.
At another convention.
Oh, he's in Pasadena.
Yeah.
Right?
So we should totally like the next
Oh my
panel.
God. I will allow it.
I'm not sure I've got his number. We communicate primarily by rumor.
And in the window.
No, we mainly email each other when we're in touch, but oh look, a phone number.
Oh, he's got it.
He's in a panel right now? You mean really?
He was earlier. I don't know if he's still in it or not.
Yeah?
Like, yeah.
Well, you're in a panel, so
Yeah.
hey, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. You got the bonus plan, baby. Blah, 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 blah.
Misha, it's Jim Beaver. I'm at a con in Eugene, Oregon. And somebody wanted your phone number, so I just gave it to 400 people. And apparently they all wish you well. Talk to you soon, brother. Now everybody's backing up their videos so they can get that number.
I'm like, it's good job. Is there a part 3 to this? Okay, you got your wish. Good job.
Hi, does this question have anything to do with me?
When you were filming Supernatural, what was it like shooting with Misha, Jensen, and...
I'm going to ask a question next.
It was swell. It was just peachy. It was like you guys old enough to remember the Three Stooges? It was almost as good as that. They're 3 great guys. I love them all. They're really terrific. They're so much fun to work with. And they're real pains in the neck. But they're good guys. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So one thing really quickly, you guys should all go out and see a film that Mr. Beaver is in called Crimson Peak. If you have not seen it yet. It is still playing at Cinemark over in Springfield. I think they took it off over here at VRC.
Am I in that?
Yeah, you are in that. Yeah, and it's a beautiful film, so you should go check it out.
Yeah, I know.
He
was
wrote that
like-
specifically for him. For real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
He told me that I was the only guy on his list for that part, and I thought, did all the other actors die? Well, as you know, if you've seen many of his movies, he's kind of twisted, so I guess that's
Prior
how I ended
warning
up
on
in
that one.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello. So, did you watch Supernatural before you were cast into it, and do you still watch it, or do you watch it now?
I watch it about once a season,
And what is
like when Bobby broke out of heaven, and I was vaguely aware that the show was on before I was cast to be on it. I had just heard about it. It was a show about 2 ostensibly hunky guys chasing ghosts or something, but I didn't know anything more about it than that. And so I hadn't watched it, and I still didn't watch it for a while. And then somewhere in season 3, I think, there's an episode where Sam and Dean and Bobby find this family that's like sitting on the sofa watching Days of Our Lives or something, and they're all dead, and they've been there for quite some time, and so we're running around the house salting the windows and doors, and I remember turning to Jared and saying, "Why are we doing this?" And he said, "Haven't you watched the show?" And I said, "Not really." And so he explained about salt and all that stuff. And so I went and borrowed some DVDs from the production office and started watching, so I'd know what the heck I was talking about. Because I didn't. So, and I watched pretty religiously up through season 7, I think. I remember there was a turn of events. Something happened in season 7, and I went, what's the point?
I almost stopped watching it then. Thank you.
Good.
Hi,
No, not good, because they can bring me back. You have to keep watching.
The trap. Hi.
Hi. So kind of a two-parter question.
Second part first.
Well, basically, I just wanted to know how you went about looking for, or how you went about choosing your roles, and what you liked most about the roles that you do choose.
Well, I choose my roles by accepting whatever gets offered to me. Pretty much. It's only fairly recently that I've ever felt comfortable turning something down. Because, unless you're a super filthy rich giant star making millions upon millions of dollars like Jared and Jensen. You saw their houses in French Mistake. That's real.
The alpaca too?
Yeah. No. I rarely feel comfortable turning anything down. So most of the time, I don't choose roles. I get chosen for them, but I don't do a lot of choosing myself. Lately, I'm a little more comfortable saying, I've played this exact same character about 42 times. If you look at my IMDb listing, you see there's like 38 sheriffs on there, which is good. I put my kid through school with sheriffs, but I'm finally at a point where I feel like, well, if I'm just doing the same thing I've done many times before, it's a different character, but the same character but a different name, then maybe I'll wait and wait for something more interesting to come along. Most of the time, though, I just I take what they offer. So it's very few of us in this business get to actually choose what we do. We can, I suppose, you could, be bad at the kinds of parts you don't like, and hope that they stop trying to cast you for those. But that's a dangerous way to play it, because I could just go, "Oh, he's lousy," and so yeah, not a lot of choice involved for most of us.
When you're on production sites or, doing.
Well, sleeping in my trailer.
Naps are good.
Yeah. No, I just love it. It's very rare that I have a job that I don't like. I've been real lucky the last decade or so in particular. I haven't had to do a lot of lousy stuff. I haven't had to do a lot of stuff where I thought, oh God, I don't know how to say these lines and make them sound real. And there's a lot of those shows out there that I remember I did did a Melrose Place once. I was like, I don't know how to make this stuff work. This is junk.
Weren't you on Star Trek Enterprise once?
I was on the pilot to Star Trek Enterprise. Yes. I didn't, I mean, I thought maybe I might be on it more and more, and then I realized, no, my character was on Earth. Very few Star Trek episodes take place on Earth. But I did get to say the immortal line, he's a Klingot. And then I got corrected. But they used it in the preview, so that was kind of cool. But I like playing all kinds of parts, and I have so much fun doing all of them. The only time it's bad is if A, the script is really bad, and I'm lucky I don't seem to get offered too many terrible scripts, or if the people I'm working with are jerks, and that's extremely rare too. So I'm a lucky boy.
Very much appreciated your work on Supernatural and Crimson Peak. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Hiya.
It's a hobbit. Is it a hobbit?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was some kind of slur or something. And then I realized, oh wait, she's talking about the costume, and not like, well, I get a little hobbit.
So I know a lot of people are here because of Supernatural, but back to Crimson Peak. Do you have any like funny or quirky stories from being on set and filming?
Funny, quirky. Not so much funny and quirky. I had a really good time doing it. I've never been treated so well by a production company as I was on that one. It was just, they were spectacular to me. I had such a good time working with Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, you're going to be asked for his phone number. You get that.
I can tell you right now, I don't have that one because we're friends. We had a great time together, but it's all email and Twitter with Tom. I was so flattered. The first day I met him, we all got together and had dinner. And we had dinner, I said goodbye, went back to my hotel, and by the time I got back to my hotel, Tom had followed me on Twitter. And I thought, that's pretty cool. So, I had a lot of fun working with everybody, but with Tom in particular, he's such an outgoing and friendly and warm guy. And we have a deep love of Shakespeare in common, and we spent a lot of time talking about that. And there wasn't, I really can't think of anything particularly funny that happened, but I can't think of anything. But it was, I started to say a couple of things, but I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen the movie, so that would not be good. Because you guys love spoilers, don't you?
Do you have an impression of Del Toro that you do? Because I've heard so many.
Oh, Guillermo del Toro is one of the two certifiable geniuses I have ever worked with, David Milch from Deadwood being the other one. And I love Guillermo so much. He's so warm. He's so embracing, both emotionally and literally. He bear hugged me the first time he met me. And he's just so sweet, but he's so brilliant and so energetic. I mean, this guy sleeps like 4 hours a night, and we would shoot all day and then come in the next morning, and he would have yesterday's stuff edited with music and sound effects, and he did it at home right after dinner. It's like, and then over lunch he would write Pacific Rim 2. and I sent him a copy of a book that we had talked about, and like 2 days later he told me he read it, and I was like, when? When? And he said we would finish work around 7 o'clock. He would go home, have dinner with his family, and then he would edit the day's footage. And then about midnight, he would go to bed, and around 4, he would get up, and he would come to the studio, and he would walk around the soundstage for a couple of hours until everybody else showed up at 6:30. And I said, why do you do that? And he said, because at 6:30, there's going to be 500 questions coming my way, and I've got to have the answers. I thought, man, that's dedication. You can't get me up at 4 in the morning if my house is on fire. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't care. It's warm. I'll sleep through it. So you guys could use one of those here. So, yeah, not exactly funny, but some fascinating stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello. 2 or 3 questions. Okay.
Why not 8 or 9? We got all night.
What is your favorite Shakespeare play and why?
Oh,
Only one.
well,
Wow.
it would just, I love so many of them deeply, but I think Hamlet's the greatest play ever written. It's full of quotations. That's a joke. No, it's just rich. I just read it again a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, sometimes when I think of what's my favorite play, I think in terms of what I would like to do, and I'm a little long in the tooth for Hamlet, but then there's the bad guy who's Claudius. So maybe one day. So yeah, but I mean, I love them all. I love them all. I love Richard III. I love the Scottish play. I've been talking with a director friend of mine about doing King Lear for a long time. I don't know if we'll pull it off, but I don't know if I can pull it off. But you think? Yeah. Yeah.
You were giving these girls feels just a little bit. I heard
I beg
it.
your pardon?
You gave them feels. I heard it. It's not just
Is that
Misha
what I
Collins,
did?
honey. Misha's not just the hottest guy on the show. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah?
You got her in the feels. Yeah.
So, Hamlet. What a piece of work is man. Okay. This is going to end up on YouTube, isn't it?
What is your favorite genre that you like, I guess, that you want or like to perform in? Like, do you like comedy more or horror?
Anybody. I never met an actor in my life who wouldn't kill to do a Western. Westerns, and I've been real lucky. I got to do a bunch. They don't make many anymore, but because apparently not as many people go see them as they used to. But that would be my favorite. Although I did a picture last year that just got a distributor a couple of days ago called The Frontier, and it's a neo-noir crime story that's really dark and nasty, and I like that kind of stuff too. And I'm dark and nasty in it. So nobody's going to be mourning that guy's demise. So yeah. So.
Is there any advice that you would give to aspiring film actors / actresses, and anything that you can give to us?
Well, what worked for me was not having a plan B, because you tend to fall back on plan B. That said, it probably would have been smart if I had one. No, I've got fairly standard advice, and that is to read and learn everything you possibly can about everything. But primarily, on a practical basis, I would say read every script you can get your hands on, read every play, read every actor's biography and autobiography and directors. I had a fellow actor friend that I went to college with who's still my closest friend, and he used to kid me a lot about how many actors' biographies I read, because he thought I was starstruck and all that stuff. And I kept telling him, I said, no, man, I'm learning from their mistakes. And it's really worked out that way. I learned so much about how to behave on a set, how to work in an industry where, for the most part, you're not treated particularly well when you're coming up the ladder. Not that you're necessarily treated badly, but it's a cold and kind of heartless business in a lot of ways. And it's good to read other people's experiences and see how they coped with the obstacles that they run up against, because there's a lot of obstacles. And the other thing I would say is, if you're committed to it, commit all the way and don't give up, because eventually your competition dies. That's it in a nutshell, but I could talk for 3 straight days on real advice, but and then do all the theater you can. Spend all the time you can, and if you can't get a part, offer to scrub the bathrooms, because the more useful you are around a theater, the more they will think, oh, well, she'd be good in this part, And you also build a network of people who are doing the same thing you are, and eventually, when I got out of college, I went back to Dallas, which is my hometown, and I did several seasons playing bit parts in the Dallas Shakespeare Festival. And most of what I did was not terribly interesting from a dramatic point of view. A lot of times it was just standing there holding a spear. But I got to know a lot of people, and when I finally said it's time to move to New York, I got to New York, and there were people I knew that I could stay with, people who could send me, tell me, show me the ropes. And so that networking is really, really important, and it's not just waiting until you're famous and going to cocktail parties and networking. It's relying on the community of people that you started with and that you meet along the way. So that's kind of drawn out, isn't it?
All the advice I can get.
Yeah, I hope it helps you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I wouldn't wear that mask to every audition. It's cute as hell, but it might not be right for every part.
I think they would want to see my face or something.
Probably.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.